Hi everyone, welcome back to Books with Karen. I'm Karen. I hope you're having a good week. Today's video is a book haul video. I went to a few charity shops a couple of weeks ago and I did pick up 7 books. I spent less than £10. I really love picking up books in charity shops because you can get some really good ones, practically brand new, and for very, very reasonable prices, if not very cheap prices. So I'll just go through them and I'll tell you what they're about, and you can let me know in the comments below if you've read them and what you think of them. So the first one I picked up was a book called Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now I have heard of this book. It was around a few years ago, and I heard lots of people talking about it, but I never read it. So I thought I'd pick it up and see what all the fuss was about. Initially, I thought it was fiction, but I think it is a non-fiction book about a woman's journey. And it says, the #1 bestseller that everyone is talking about. Elizabeth is in her 30s, settled in a large house with a husband who wants to start a family, but she doesn't want any of it. A bitter divorce and a rebound fling later, Elizabeth emerges battered yet determined to find what she's been missing. So begins her quest. In Rome, she indulges herself and gains nearly 2 stone. In India, she finds enlightenment through scrubbing temple floors. Finally, in Bali, a toothless medicine man reveals a new path to peace, leaving her ready to love again. So I think this is non-fiction. One woman's search for everything. So I look forward to reading that. Not sure when I'm going to get round to it, but it was only 50p, so I thought I would pick that up. The second one I picked up was 99p, and it is called The London Seance Society. Now, it was the title of this that drew me to it. Seance, I like a little bit of spookiness in my books. It's by Sarah Penner. And this one says, 1873, at an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place, led by acclaimed spiritualist Vaudeline Delay, known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identities of the people who killed them. She is highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Lena Wicks has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death, but to do so she must embrace the unknown and overcome her own logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudeline is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Lena accompanies her as an understudy, but as the women team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive Seance Society to solve the mystery, they begin to suspect that they are not merely out to solve a crime, perhaps entangled in one themselves. So that sounds quite interesting. I've never been to a seance before, but me and my daughter actually did go and see I don't know whether she was a psychic or a medium. We went to see a local one of those, and let's just say I was not convinced. It was a very strange experience, and if it's something you would like me to talk about a little bit further on another video, let me know in the comments below and I will tell you the whole story. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the London Seance Society. The next book is a Sophie Hannah book, and it's called The Couple at the Table, and this one was £2. Now I love Sophie Hannah, and I think this one also has Simon and Charlie in, whose relationship is kind of grown throughout Sophie Hannah's books. They are detectives, Charlotte and Simon, and I seen this one in a bookshop. It was probably last year, and I was going to buy it, and I thought, hold off for the moment. So when I saw it in the charity shop, I thought I'll pick this up. It says 6 couples, 1 honeymoon resort, an impossible murder. A dream honeymoon, you're madly in love, newly married and at an exclusive resort. A nightmare dinner. You receive a note warning you to beware of the couple at the table nearest to yours. There are 5 other couples, any of them might have murder in mind. A crime that seems impossible. Who tried to warn you? Who is out to get you? And will you make it home alive? What Sophie and Agatha Christie have in common is a rare talent for fiendish unpredictability. So yeah, I love Sophie Hannah books. I've read quite a few of them, so I'm really looking forward to reading that one. The only thing about reading a book where you've loved many of the author's books is if it's not so good, you feel quite disappointed in it. But we'll see what that one's like. The next one I got in the same shop, and this was also £2, and this is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. And I think this is another kind of mystery one. In a beautiful old apartment block, deep in the back streets of Paris, secrets are stirring behind every resident's door. The lonely wife, the party animal, the curtain twitcher, the secret lover, the watchful caretaker, the unwanted guest. There was a murder here last night. Who holds the key to the mystery of apartment 3? Combines edge of your seat tension with out and out Parisian chic. That sounds really interesting. So yeah, I might get to that one sooner rather than later. It says a #1 global best-selling author. I don't think I've read any of Lucy Foley before. Again, if you've read any of them, if you've read this one, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. This next one is called London Rain by Nicola Upson, and it was the cover of this book that drew me to it. I just liked the picture. It just looks very interesting. This woman's standing in the rain. She hasn't got an umbrella up. She's got it hanging over the back of her. It's actually historical crime fiction, and this one was £1, and it says, best-selling writer Josephine Tay is in town to oversee a BBC radio production of her play Queen of Scots, but adultery, treachery and pent-up jealousies stalk the corridors of Broadcasting House. That wouldn't surprise us at all. At the height of the coronation celebrations, Detective Chief Inspector Archie Penrose is called in to investigate the murder of one of the BBC's best-known broadcasters. A second victim suggests that the motive lies close to home, but Josephine suspects that the killings are linked to a decade-old scandal. With Archie's hands tied by politics and his attention taken by another tragic death, it is left to Josephine to get to the truth, forcing her to confront at first hand the deadly consequences of love, deceit and betrayal. It says, rich in the atmosphere of Coronation London and the early days of Broadcasting House. This is set in May 1937, so historical but not too historical. So I think that might be quite interesting actually. I mean, the BBC... yeah, interesting. I haven't read any of Nicola Upson's books, and it does look like she's written 5 more. So yeah, if I like that one, then there's lots of others to get my teeth into. So that's London Rain by Nicola Upson. Now this next one I have actually already read, and it is Kate Morton, The Clockmaker's Daughter. This one was £1. Now the reason I picked this up was I read this maybe about 3 years ago, and I read it on my Kindle, and I absolutely loved this book. So when I do find a book that I really, really enjoy, I like to have the physical copy of it, because I do like to read books again if I've already enjoyed them. And it's probably about time I read this one again. This is a really thick book, but the writing is not too small in there, so that should be okay. Now I did feel when we read this book for another book club that I was in a few years ago, and I know there was quite a few people DNF'd it, did not finish. And I think the reason is this book feels like it's in 2 halves. The first half is a little bit slow, but then the second half really gets into the story and you see where the two tie in. And I just loved it. The ending was just so satisfying. I loved the characters, and I can't wait to read that again. And I really love the cover of the book as well. That's very pretty. So yeah, £1 for a hardback book like that is just, you can't leave it behind really, can you? And the last one I picked up is another thick book, and this is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, and this one was £3. Now, I know this was a TV series as well, and I did try to watch it. I think I watched the very first episode and I couldn't really get into it. Now, I love things to do with witches and werewolves and vampires and that kind of thing. I just love that kind of theme, scenario, world. I like that kind of thing. So I was quite surprised when I couldn't get into the series. So I thought I would try the book, because sometimes the books are better. And the reason why I like this book is it is a large print book, a large print edition of it. And I was just, my eyesight is not what it was. And I sometimes find it a little bit difficult to read a physical book, even though I wear glasses. And, if I've got a good light, that I use to read with, I can still sometimes find it a little bit of a struggle. Kindle is better because you can make the print bigger, but I much prefer a physical book. So when I saw this was the large print edition, I just thought, yeah, I'm going to have that. I could probably read that without me specs. Yeah, really looking forward to reading this one. So it says, deep in the stacks of Oxford's Bodleian Library, young scholar Diana Bishop unwittingly calls up a bewitched alchemical manuscript in the course of her research. Descended from an old and distinguished line of witches, Diana wants nothing to do with sorcery, so after a furtive glance and a few notes, she banishes the books to the stacks. But her discovery sets a fantastical underworld stirring, and a horde of demons, witches and vampires soon descends upon the library. Diana has stumbled upon a coveted treasure lost for centuries, and she is the only creature who can break its spell. I mean, that sounds right up my street. So I don't know why I couldn't get into the TV series. Maybe it was the actors that chosen for the parts. I'm not sure, but hopefully I will be able to get into the book. So those are the 7 books I picked up from the charity shops, or if you're in America, thrift stores. I will be going back to the charity shops to pick up more books, probably. For some reason, you have lots of books on your shelves that you haven't read, but you still like to go out and pick up more. You buy more books, you go to the library, take books out of the library, and you've got all these books that you haven't read. I find that quite interesting. Why am I not reading the books that are on my bookshelves? I guess it's that kind of, you get that dopamine hit from going browsing books in a charity shop, and you're not going to spend a fortune, so you get that thrill of picking new books up. And going to the library even better, because you get the thrill of taking books you've never read home and they don't cost you anything. So I think it's got something to do with the dopamine hit. But yeah, I really need to get around to reading all of the books that I've got rather than just buying more books. So like I said, let me know in the comments below if you've read any of those books and what you thought of them. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.